So net neutrality is really one of the founding principles of the internet. What it means is that all internet traffic is basically treated equally. So it doesn't matter if your traffic is to a website or a video service or Facebook, a bit is a bit is a bit, and it's all going down the same pipe at the same speed. Ajit Pai is the chairman of the FCC, and he was appointed by Donald Trump, and his job one, since he got appointed, has been repealing net neutrality. He thinks that since net neutrality has been in place, broadband investment has gone down. And there are some numbers that support his argument. Whether or not they are clearly attributed to net neutrality being codified in 2015, it's a little unclear. The thing people fear the most with net neutrality getting thrown out is the fast lane, slow lane analogy. They do not want your ISP having a say and picking winners on the internet. A lot of the ISPs have committed to saying that, or at least saying that they're not going to create any fast lanes. And fair, maybe they will, maybe they won't. They might stick to that. Considering how unpopular it was and how much heat Comcast took when it did essentially do that, there's a good chance they won't, even without net neutrality. We're probably not going to see fast lanes and slow lanes, at least not for a while and not in an obvious way. If they did that, theoretically you could go like, well, I don't support that, I don't like that, I'm going to go to my other provider and simply do business with them. In an ideal world, that would happen, and you'd have a ton of providers to choose from and everything would be great. In the real world, that doesn't happen, and that's because in many, many markets, the majority of markets in the United States, in fact, have only one or two broadband providers. So 5G has a lot of promise for fixing the competition issue, and I'll tell you exactly what I mean. So 5G is, of course, the next big wireless service, right? It's going to be faster internet, it's going to be super stable internet, everyone's going to be on 5G in 5 years. That is actually very true. One of the benefits of 5G is that it's going to basically make your wireless internet as good as your home internet. This could really disrupt how we get home internet because it brings the wireless providers into it. So instead of having those one or two providers in a market, now you might have 5 or 6 or 7. So 5G actually has a decent amount of potential to sort of fix a non-net neutrality world, at least to a certain extent. There's kind of a principle at stake too, like should all traffic be treated the same regardless of where you're trying to get it from, what you're trying to do? I think most people would agree that that's probably a good thing. If you're asking me what my position is, I'm kind of willing to give a non-net neutrality world a try. Arguably, it's what we had actually up until 2015 and until there was some sort of shady stuff on the part of some ISPs. Things worked pretty well, but it's pretty clear to me net neutrality as a principle is very important. Even if net neutrality as a law may have some issues. So if the world that we're sort of evolving into keeps net neutrality as some underlying bedrock that perhaps is even more fundamental than a law, that's great. But that's a lot of faith. Again, 5G could render a lot of this irrelevant, and what the internet looks like in 5 to 10 years from now is going to be quite different than today. So we'll see.